Okay, I do have sound. It's always a joy coming on YouTube. You never know when you're live, when you're not live, if you're live, if you're working. One of my ring cameras is out. I'll have to get another one. Okay, so excuse me. Let me get some more light behind me. All right, so we're finally here. And as I say, I'm learning many things about the tech world. Either you're on live or you're not, especially when it comes to YouTube. But I used to get that too when I streamed for the first time in 2006 when I was living in New Jersey. And I used to stream through a platform called Mogulus, which Mogulus, and they were out of New York City. And then they switched and called themselves uh, what was the name they called themselves? They called themselves Ustream, the capital Ustream, and then flipped later to something called Livestream. But anyway, they had at least over 50,000 people. Oh, yeah, thank you. It's one of them that gets a little wrinkly, so I just wear it and it's very comfortable on me. Thank you, Holly Hammett. One of the things, yeah, broadcasting at any time probably is maybe 5,000 people on here or more. But when I used to go through Mogulus, Ustream, Livestream, Spreaker, who else? Blog Talk Radio, you'd get as much as 50,000 people broadcasting live 24 hours a day. So, they were using all of the, I forget what they call them, the actual uh, computer banks, I'll call them, around the world that they plug you into. So sometimes you be plugged into somewhere out in Sweden or Germany or Japan or, anywhere but within the state that you're in. So today's topic that came to me was necessary for me to always go back to meditation. Meditation, as you know, is a way for us to learn how to connect with higher sources of information. So I'll kind of keep it brief and at the same time, stoke culture is back, peace. At the same time, I'm going to, if I can remember to do this, to give you a short meditation. And we might move it into first a guided meditation and then I'll get you more into the silent first. The silent meditation is the most powerful one that you could work with. And the reason why you want to work with meditation from the silent standpoint is because you want to give yourself an opportunity to always stay connected to your power source. Now, who or what could be your power source? And your power source is what a lot of us in the metaphysical field refer to as divine providence, divine source, intelligence, God force energy throughout the universe. And there are many ways in which you can do that. Also, what I would like to say, sometimes there are a lot of people selling different programs. And I'm not knocking people who sell their different programs on meditation, but some people are trying to tell you there's a shortcut. There's a shortcut. Well, not really. It's not really a shortcut. What it takes is disciplined practice. That's what it takes. And that means there are some times when you find it hard to meditate because you're not feeling well physically. You could have, cold or something like that, or you feel totally exhausted and fatigued from work or from, environment that you live in. Um, you might be upset about something else that happened to you or your family member or a mate. All these things can interrupt your ability to meditate. And so meditation is not something that's easy. In fact, what I could tell you is that sometimes it's better to have an obstacle than no obstacle. I'll say that again. Sometimes it's better to have an obstacle to work through than no obstacle. Usually, if you have no obstacle to work through, you have a tendency to be a little lazy in your meditation journey. In other words, if you're not having a challenge, yes, it builds your character. If you're not having a challenge, some kind of daily challenge or once a month challenge, then you're not building up as Stoked culture says, build your character, build your muscles, your spiritual muscles. So you would want to experience some kind of challenge. Also, with that, experiencing that, is you want to fine tune yourself. And you have to do that. And it comes through discipline. Now, I'm kind of typing this into my my Instagram account because I have a lot of students floating around on Instagram. And kind of letting them know that I'm here. So I'll kind of unplug my phone from the charger and hopefully rest it next to my printer where it takes a good view of me at the same time. There we go. So now I'm on Instagram and I'm coming through YouTube for Resonant Essentials, Esoteric School of Metaphysics. So I should say where that's from, but let me say who I am. I'm Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. I am the originator of this podcast every Thursday called Clear Blue Radiance. I'm the host. I've been a spiritual counselor for over 40 plus years, and I enjoy helping lots of people, such as yourself, gain greater clarity in your life and assist you in discovering and navigating through your purpose. Now, our purpose changes as we change. That's something that happens all the time. Your purpose is really never the same. And sometimes you might start out one way with a purpose, and as time goes on in your life, shift because you find yourself growing and expanding. And this is essential. Miss Sadisha, hey, Sadie, how you doing? Long time no see. She's over there on Instagram. So, one of the importance of meditation also is you can find your path. You can discover yourself. And this is essential. But like I was telling one of my students Tuesday night, teaching her from my book, Radiant Heart, which is that book like right over here. That's my recent book. One of the things you have to realize is you're always thinking computers, cell phones like computers. They used to call them palm pilots, right? Palm pilots. They hold all that data just like a telephone directory, and then you can get the news and some few other clips. And now we've gone to like the Android phones and iPhones that are giving you not just the normal stuff, so to speak, but news around the world. It's a handheld computer, literally, and it's based on us. So the one thing that the computer can't do, or the iPhone or the Android can't do, is take you into a moment of meditation. But you can load it up with all the apps that teach you how to meditate, that use sound, music, crystal bowls, Tibetan sounds behind you to help trigger that. And now you got this what AI. AI might be a good thing, but it kind of takes away from your ability because you have the ability to supersede AI. AI actually means artificial intelligence. and it's been set up to go out like a computer and crawl through the world and pull information. The only thing about that, you don't know whose information is being pulled. Even a person of myself, I've written 7 books. AI might be going through the internet pulling my information without asking me. So that's one of the things. But I'm starting to delve into it a little bit, but I'm not letting it control my life. Okay, I'm not a robot. I'm not even human. So, hey, one of the things you want to be able to understand is what is meditation? Meditation is an act of finding your center of being, your center of growth, your center of expansion. That's in the heart. The journey of your meditation is really taking place in the heart. And for the past 30, 40 years, I've been teaching that way. All of my meditation classes are heart centered. All my classes that I teach, based on every book I've ever written, is heart centered. And I believe through divine faith and power that if we live through the heart, meaning the energy known as the heart chakra, you could evolve faster. You could evolve not only just being a passionate, enthusiastic person about the things you like to do in life and how you like to interact with people, but also you could raise your level. You don't have to feel like you're sliding off down into a valley, into a bottomless pit of nowhere. You could find yourself by using meditation. And this is something that you have to know. It's very, very important. Now, a basic question about meditation is what is meditation? But with that brief definition, an act of finding your center of being, my next question is being what? What are you looking to be? What are you striving to be? How are you striving to describe yourself as to where you want to go once you start to get into this thing called meditation? And one of the quickest answers is to be peaceful, to be in a state of peace with yourself, to be in harmony with higher forces of energy, to be aligned to higher levels, to understand the vibration that every living creature gives off, and to be able to respect the frequency that manifests through your pores into your auric field, into your environment, through the walls of your residence outside. Now, you can use your meditation if you have good visual sensations and skills with yourself, and using your memory. If you know what the outside of a hallway looks like and you've basically recorded it, you could project your thought there. If you're in a building, let's say you could be on the 18th floor, 40th floor of a building. If you know what it looks like to walk out of a room down a hallway to an elevator, and you can project the energy where there's no one in the hallway, and when you get to the elevator, one or two people are in there, or nobody's in there, or there's somebody in there that you know. And because you're projecting that through the power of senses of using meditation, you begin to draw people on the same frequency, and they just may show up. So you imagine you're on the 50th floor of the Empire State Building, which has what, 99 to 100 floors, and now you're coming down, and by the time you hit the 50th floor, or where you're at, the 48th floor, people are getting on. Someone getting on might be this person that you felt in your meditation. Or you get down to the 20th floor and someone gets on there and you realize, oh, I know that person. Or you get all the way to the bottom of the first floor and the door opens up and then you see them in the lobby. Things like that happen. Why? Because you're generating energy. You're putting out a frequency for people to sense and feel. and become aware of. And those things happen if you are around people who practice yoga for a long time, qigong for a long time, tai chi, some kind of martial arts. They're putting that frequency out from internalizing it for so many years of dedication and practice that you start to feel it. Animals feel it the best, and so do children. You be in a field where somebody's practicing hatha yoga all the time, kripalu yoga, and any other form of yoga, or doing qigong exercises by themselves, quietly. Somebody walking their dog, that dog is going to want to hang out. Squirrels are going to hang out. Wild rabbits are going to hang out. Birds will pop out. Why? Because they can feel the vibration. Ants come up out of the ground like, hey, what's going on up there? They can feel it. Why? Because you're radiating that stuff into the trees and into the ground. Same thing happens when you meditate. You begin to expand. You begin to, your awareness of things become keener. Your remembrance of things become more accurate. And I always tell my students over the past 40, 50 years of teaching meditation that you should pay attention to what you are aware of and definitely start remembering what you are aware of. I always used to say, don't go so deep in your meditation that you don't know the stove is on, that you're burning up some rice over there, or you got something in the oven too long. Don't get to that level where you black out and you don't know what's going on in your environment. See, when you meditate, you're supposed to get to a level of a deep enough meditation that you are aligned with the frequencies of nature, meaning plant life, insect life, bird life, what's in the water, what crawls and walks on the land, but also the things you cannot see, but the things that you can sense. And this is good to know because meditation helps everybody. Let me say that again. Meditation done on a regular basis helps everyone. And you're not going to quiet this. Your brain is like a computer, it's spitting out data, millions and trillions and 10,000 pieces of data, things that you've acquired, things that you've seen since you were born into this world, and things you saw before you were born into this world. Meditation gets you involved with the host that's inside of you. Have you ever realized you're seeing all these things outside yourself and you can touch them, but these things are also inside yourself? You just using your hands to touch things that are physically around you. But it took meditation to make a cup, took meditation to make a table, took meditation to make not just contemplation, meditation to create a chair. It took meditation of Mother Earth in the universe to create selenite, not in a tiny form, selenite in a humongous form, 30 yards worth of it, clustered together, maybe more. The beams can be so big, people look like ants walking across them. Meditation can help you do many things. One of the things it can do is alleviate stress and anxiety. And we gain a lot of stress and anxiety if we watch too much news, right? Because you're absorbing things. If it's not making you laugh, and it's okay, sometimes we need to know the important things, emergency type things that are going on around us, but you don't want to take that into your system too much because the subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between what's right or what's wrong. But it's like a vacuum cleaner, it'll suck all that in there that you keep watching. Then, once your emotions tie into it and all of your thoughts tie into it, then you begin to worry about what you see going on in the world. And if you watch it way too much, what does that mean? You start to invite it, you start to attract it into your life, you start to align with those things, and now you begin to experience those things on a regular basis. It is the same if someone is around you singing the blues. And I mean literally singing the blues. You hear enough of it, you feel like it's your blues too. And that's one of the things you have to realize, that many times everything that we see going on around ourselves, and we see enough of it, we can almost believe that it's going to happen to us as well. And meditation can help you to reverse that. So, meditation helps you to remain centered and calm. You want to be centered because being centered, you're coming from a place of tranquility and peace. You're coming from a place of so much stillness and calmness, but however, you are aware of your environment. So you're not just here with your eyes, but you're feeling with your internal eyes from your body. So your body can read information, your body can sense all types of information. If you ever had an accident, your body remembers 20 years ago when and where you had that accident. If you got robbed, your body remembers the date and the time. So when you come into the vicinity of that location, your body's asking you, are you bringing me back to something that you want me to re-experience that I do not want to re-experience? You have to think. You see, through meditation, you can communicate with the cellular memory, the cells in your body. You can communicate with them. You can ask your body, what source of minerals or vitamins do you need? Do you want me to exercise you? Your body will tell you. Your body will tell you what kind of exercise. You can try out a lot of different exercises, but your body knows the exercise or exercises that it would best accommodate it. And so it could grow, not just muscles, but grow a higher level of awareness. People often ask when to meditate. Well, technically, in the beginning, 50, 60 years ago, people would say, well, noonday, meditation day, let's try when we get up in the morning. But as time has gone on, we found out some of the power points and times in which it's best for each person to meditate. And each person has to find that zone, that time frame that works best for them. So for me, the minute I get up, wash my face, take a shower, do what I do, and sit down and meditate. Or because I know I had a dream and I could see the dream symbols and the actions and the situations that occurred in the dream, then I know the best time is to meditate before my feet hit the floor from the bed. The minute I position my feet and align my pelvis and make my back and torso comfortable and my neck where I want it to be on my head, and don't lift my head back too far and drop my shoulders, then I can relax across the kidney area into the pelvis and hips. Now I can go into meditation. I have to utilize deep breathing to help me do that. Because if I'm not breathing deep enough, I may not realize the importance of meditation. So people say, well, where? Where? But here's find out for you the best time to meditate. Is it early in the morning before you start your regimen of, of your itinerary? Try that. Some people can meditate very early in the morning. Some people cannot. Some people can meditate between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Some people, once they get really involved in meditation, will skip a lunch here or there, skip a coffee break or here or there, and meditate during that time. Some people will meditate after they get home, after they get a good shower and prepare dinner, meditate before they eat. Now, if you've eaten, Then the best time to meditate is wait at least 45 minutes as the body begins to break down and digest the food, up to an hour, up to 2 hours, and then think about meditation. So people can meditate within an hour's time before they fall off to sleep. That is equally a good time to meditate. Meditation and the dream world kind of link up, you know. It kind of keeps you aware so that when you drop the brainwave levels down and you get out of the beta, which is something like 14 cycles per second and higher, 20 and 21 cycles per second, that's where you're at. The brain is active. But there's something known as gamma, and that's when you're very, very active. People who have that gamma wave effect are people who are channeling on a much higher frequency. People, I don't know if you remember this guy, he was from Croatia. His name was called Bratzo. When you look at it, you might have said Braco, but it's Croatian or Serbic for little brother. And he was an accountant. He was an accountant there in Serbia, Croatia area. And he was studying with this master who was into healing. Now, he was around the guy, but according to him, he wasn't trying to study anything. He was just trying to, help him out. Like, maybe be the guy with the errands, put together newsletters and things of that nature. And that guy transitioned, and somehow that energy jumped off to him. Okay, Holly Hammett's question was, do you think this may have anything to do with the time of each person is born, referring to the best time to meditate? Well, I would say yes and no. Um, Maybe more yes if you know all the astrological ramifications of your natal chart, like where you were born, because that will also help you too. Like, let's say I was born on Long Island, but the vibration is different over here than it is in Long Island. So when I was in Long Island, I was born at 7 a.m. I never equated the fact that I was meditating at that time, actually meditating just before that time. Sometimes I was meditating at 3 o'clock in the morning. I had no idea that it had any, that it could, hey, Jovita, that it could have something to do with my time of birth. So that's why I say yes and no, because we all still have to find. Now, I know that I was born at 7 a.m. I'll get back to Bratzo in a minute. I know that I was born at 7 a.m. on a Sunday. Well, I've meditated on some Sundays around that time, and it's no stronger than a Monday or a Tuesday or a Wednesday, only because I've been a person that was meditating long before I knew anything about my time of birth, being involved, astrology, numerology, and things of that sort. I got into meditation because I was experiencing bullyism in college, just like I experienced in high school and grade school. And I kind of flipped one day on the guy who was bullying me. And then a guy came to me and he said, "Look, I could teach you how to meditate." And I said, "Oh, that'd be great," because I hear people talk about it, but I don't know about the teaching. That guy, he wasn't even a college student. In the middle of my freshman year, taught me how to meditate in the woods, 6 a.m. in the morning, 6:30 a.m. Some days it was cold. Some days it wasn't. But I had to learn. But those were the obstacles. So you could try that with birth key numbers and all. But what you will find out is that when you must meditate, anytime is the right time. And I say that with compassion, understanding, grace, and love. You don't need a specific time per se. Because here's one thing about that: you have thousands of other people meditating at those same times as you. If you're sensitive enough, you might pull in their vibration. their frequency, which could kind of throw your vibration off. So naturally, when the sun is rising, that is one of the good times to meditate. And when the sun is setting, that is a good time to meditate because you're working with the solar energy. Then high noon, which I would say mainly anytime between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., you can meditate and catch the frequency of the sun. Now, this guy Bratzo, the Serbic gentleman from Croatia, he didn't think he was a healer. He was working with a man who was a healer. And that guy somehow transitioned. And then he himself started developing certain things. In fact, even before the guy transitions, his parents were trying to break him off from that guy because they didn't think that guy was who he was. So his parents tried to break him off, and then he was having his own psychic, spiritual, metaphysical experiences, and then his parents put him in the hospital to get checked out. And he wound up running away from the hospital. He knew he wasn't supposed to be there. Brazzo is known as the silent gazer. That means he meditates an awful lot, but he's one of these people that has the high gamma wave active brain. And he's been tested where they can look up on a cinemascope and they can see when he's still, and then when he goes into meditation, and then he goes into a supercharged state of meditation. And what the brain, the color vibrations that the brain is giving off. What we're saying is that he's able to connect with very high frequencies, very high vibrational frequencies of beings from around the world through any culture and beyond. Many of us do that. We're just unaware how well that we do it. But he is known as the silent gazer. And I can tell you, I went through one day 5 different sessions of him. It was on, in fact, this was the month. This was the month. The month was June 2011. The date was June the 10th. So actually, 2 days ago was the anniversary of me and another friend going to see this guy Bratzo in the Meadowlands at the Crown Hotel in New Jersey, Meadowlands area. And we got there around, we were trying to get in there at 2 o'clock for the first, what would have been our first viewing. But here's what happened. And I can tell you the cat's powerful. Um, Everything was fine. My friend drove a Cherokee Jeep. That was her vehicle, right? And we drove from Long Valley, which is the older side of Hackettstown, New Jersey, all the way there. Now, it only cost, his gazing was 8 minutes. That was his gazing time inside of 30 minutes. And we didn't pay a lot. The fee that he charged was $1 a minute for the gazing only, not for the discussion or questions. In fact, he didn't answer any questions. He just gazed upon the audience. There was a woman there with him by the name of Jane Sibbett, Sibbet, and she's a well-known TV sitcom actress, I think from Friends. And she got connected with him from Los Angeles, California, and decided she's not gonna do no more acting. He's it. Is what she was seeking. And so she travels around the country with him. And he draws huge crowds. We were there in the hotel, but this is what happened. We arrived at about 1 o'clock because we want to get there early so we can get online and be right up front so we can get a good seat. Well, my friend, she had to go into the first level from the ground level, multiple parking, right? Nobody was there yet. Not at that level. People parked down at the other end. There was a lot of cars. When I went to get out the vehicle, I stepped down with my left foot. And as I went to step down with my left foot, I heard this double popping sound. It was so loud, I thought someone got shot up there. That's how loud it was. But here's the thing, it wasn't someone being shot, it was my hamstring on my left leg in the back popping away from my pelvis, from my hip. Yeah. And the tendon going behind the knee, go in the thigh, going up to the knee, that pop. And it was painful, man. A double pop, bam, bam, like someone getting shot. It was that loud. And she said, is someone shooting?" She came around the side. I said, "No, it's me." My left hamstring and the ligament going down to my knee from the back popped. In other words, they tore. I was all right when I got in the van. I was all right when weeks ahead of that. Never had any problem until that day, June 10th, 2011. It was the most painful thing. But here's what happened. My whole body on that side began to get cold, was numbing out. And I was fighting mentally through the pain. And all I could do was hobble around on my foot, right foot, skip, hop. I got to the back of her vehicle and I said, "Jackie, you're going to have to go in. I, I don't think I can make it." That whole part of my body is like shriveling, not from the waist up, the back, just in that area, that hamstring. It was, now I know what football players, track and field, what that feels like when that pops. You can't do anything. All you can do is grimace in pain. My whole side just got left, and all I could say was, "We came all the way here. I need to go see this guy." As in, my body gave off a frequency, and all I could see was his image and the people. So finally, we had invited some other people that we knew to meet us there. About two other carloads, I think, of people, or one other carload of people. And here we go. Take a deep breath, put my Tai Chi breathing in motion throughout my body as much as I could. And then she helped me, and we walked down that slanted walkway. So I had a guardrail, and I'm holding on to the guardrail and hopping, holding on and hopping. Hold. Meanwhile, my leg, I had no control. It felt like behind my, in the middle of the muscles, quadricep, felt like a hard baseball sitting there. That's how the muscles were twisted up. And I started to sweat because I was in pain. Didn't know, I wanted to cry, man. It was like so painful. So we hobbled and hobbled and hobbled. Everybody that we invited to say, "You okay? Wait for us." So we waited. And then all of those additional people helped me hobble. And we got to the side door was almost the main entrance. And I said to my friends before we could see how the steps were, I said, "If those steps are greater than 5 inches, like in height, I'm not gonna be able to get in there. If so, I'm gonna have to literally crawl in there." Well, they helped me up the steps. They weren't any higher than 3 or 4 inches. That's how it was made. Was able to get up, hop up, and then drag myself in there. Went to the table. Now at this point, half hour's going by. So 2 o'clock was when he was supposed to go in the afternoon. But we got saved by the bell. We got to the table. The lady said, "Are you okay?" I says, "No." My whole left side with my leg going down my left foot is ice cold, and the hamstring and the ligament behind the knee popped at the same time, and the muscle is twisted up in the center, hard like a baseball. I said, "I guess we missed, so I'm gonna have to get a chair." She said, "No, no, no. You are in luck." I said, "What do you mean?" She says, "He postponed. He's waiting to come in at 2:30. He's already in the hotel. He's in his room. He's in a back room off from the side. He said he's going to wait until 2:30." Wow. We paid $8, and I said, "I need more sessions. I need 5 in a row." So I paid $40 so I could be in that room 5 times, 4 of the times other than the first time. We gone in there. Now, the reason why I say this is important to meditation, because I had to literally go into meditation mode. This lady let me around the back of the table, opened the door, and we were right on the side where you walk in to the ballroom. Nobody in there, and the stage and the TV screens and the camera people. And I dragged myself where I could like feel where I should sit. And all of a sudden, my right side responded. And I said, "Ooh." I says, "Right here." It says, I'm going to sit like right here." We were like the 6th row back from the front. Now, using a little numerology, I was 8 seats in from the left and 5 seats in from the right on what would have been his right side viewing. So that's 13 plus 6 is 19, which is 1 is the sun. So I was pulling on the vibration. And it was very warm that day. And I sat there. Then the lady Jane Sabet came in. Then she introduced Brazzo. Now, this is what happened. I also had a prayer list. They said, "Bring a prayer list because the energy will work the prayer list." We sat in meditation. You could see his face on the screen all the way around. And what I began to see was a luminous green light. I would happen to bend, didn't realize I'm sitting right underneath a chandelier. A luminous green light flows out of this chandelier. And there was at some point there was a close up of his face. But it felt like we were like this. Like he was here with his face and I was here. Also felt this globular green light, felt like hands dropping on my head with a little bit of weight and then going through my body. And I just took it all in. It made me very calm, centered, and relaxed. So now I had a shift in my meditation where I could like hold myself up. And then I felt like 2 big hands were on my leg, my left side, gently massaging that muscle and massaging that muscle. Finally, that hard baseball softened up and melted away, which meant my muscles were untwisting. Now, what did that feel like? My whole side of that body was warmer than my right side. Now, I met a few people in there that were pranic healers that knew my friend Jackie because she was studying pranic healing. But the thing was, they saw me as a witness hobble in there. So we had to stand, during that time. And eventually, we were able to sit. And my friend said, "Can you sit?" I said, "Something just happened." He says, "What?" I said, all that intense pain, all that icy coldness is gone. And I felt like someone massaged my leg. Right. I'm just going to leave it at that. So I was able to sit down. Actually, they did all this talking. Brazzo had walked off the stage into that side room where he starts to meditate. Again, they asked, did anybody have anything to say? I looked to my left, and there was my mother down there, like, get up there. You go. And looking to my right, my grandmother said, go, meaning stand up. So I looked around, no one said anything, so I stood up, raised my hand and stood up. They said, can you give us your name? I gave them my name. She said, do you have anything you'd like to say? I said, oh, yeah. I got a lot to say. And everybody turned around and looked at me. I said, I came with my friends here today, with my friend Jackie here, drove here. My leg was fine until it was time to get out of the vehicle where we parked in the multi level, but on the low level, closest to the ground floor. I said, when I went to get out of her van, starting with my right foot, I heard a double popping sound. It sounded like someone being shot in the parking lot, but we were the only car up there. And I told her, no, it's me. And anybody looked at me, I says, my hamstring snapped so loud, it echoed through that parking area and it sounded like someone getting shot. And then the ligament behind my left knee popped at the same time, right after that. Felt like two gunshots. I said I had to hobble in here with my friends. I thought we missed the 2 p.m. setting, but was told by the receptionist at the table where we paid to come in that he delayed it until 2:30. That popping that happened right before 2 o'clock. In fact, when it took place, 2 o'clock had happened and it was going on like 2:05, 2:10. I said, when I walked in here, my leg was in shock. My left side of my body was in shock. All I knew how to do was meditate the way I know how to meditate. And the rest came through Brazzo. So if anybody's sitting in here, I said, if any reporters are sitting here and you think this guy's a fluke, no way. He's legitimate. And as whoever's working with him as spiritual guides and so forth, emanated through that chandelier, and I got hit with that energy. And then I proved it to him. Look, I could swing my leg out to the left. I could pick up my knee. I could do all kind of things. I could squat. I couldn't do that before. I was in total maximum pain. I said, he's legit. So the lady said, so what are you going to do after this? I said, I'm coming back in here. I said, I know it works, but I'm coming back in here. I'm going to go sit in the lobby and I'm going to meditate now even more so I can stay wide open so I can get more of this energy. We stayed until it was time for us to go to have dinner. I got 5 shots of Brazzo's silent gazing, and it got better and better and better. By the time we got out of there, went to have dinner, had no problem getting in and out, picking my leg up, or nothing. In fact, when we got back to her house where I was staying at, I fell off to sleep, didn't wake up till the next day. Reason why I mention that is because we have to understand how energy actually works. It's all entangled. A lot of people talk about this entanglement of energy. Even though you all see me right here, broadcasting through YouTube, broadcasting through Instagram at the same time, our energies are intertwined, they're interlaced. Not just the physical, but here as well. Especially also heart centered as well. So that means each and every one of you that's tuned in, that's watching, that's listening to me right now, you are having an experience. energetically. My frequency is connecting with your frequency. And the longer I stay on it, it's been about 49 minutes, going on 50 minutes. A part of me and part of you have been dancing together energetically. Jovita9 says, what an incredible experience. Thank you, Francis, for sharing. I know Brazzo too, and it's 2023 in here. She's experienced Brazzo. And that was 20, I guess, yeah, June 2010. We also saw him on Reverend Michael Bernard's Beckwith channel, Agape, live on the internet YouTube channel. And he was there too. And it was just as powerful coming through the frequency of the airways that way than it was live. But these things happen. That's why meditation should be practiced on a regular basis, because it enhances your life. It changes the frequency. Actually, the more you meditate, the younger you're going to get, the happier you're going to be, the more open you will be toward things that match your frequency that you're giving out. So we have another person. If I pronounce it incorrect, please, I apologize. Lilu Dallas, 37, has joined. Yes, I'm talking about the importance of meditating. Meditation is your tool for personal transformation. Now, in the beginning, a lot of people say, well, I didn't get anything. I don't feel anything. Don't worry. Because the first time you're sitting down, first couple of times you sit down, first couple of weeks you sit down, first couple of weeks, months, you're not looking for anything other than being calm and centered. That's the first and foremost thing, is being calm and centered. People who are depressed, if you are doing meditation, you have depression as a way, as a hurdle to work through utilizing meditation. Now, yes, meditate when you're feeling great, because that makes your energy get higher. Meditate when you're feeling happy with yourself. Meditate when you're feeling good things happening in your life. But you also have to meditate when the not so good things are happening in your life. You also have to meditate when you have fear going on in your life. You have to meditate when someone is bugging you out. You got to learn how to meditate. It's essential to your well-being. Oh, I do. The person I remind him of Alan Watts. Funny, when I was in college, my senior year, I worked in the college used bookstore. And one of the alumni would drop back books for people to study. And this guy was a philosophy major like 20, 30 years ago. Now, this is back in 1973 when I worked in a college used bookstore. Actually, 72 going into 70, the year of 73. And the first book I had was a paperback book that this guy had. It was yellow. It was a small paperback book, no bigger than this size, a little smaller, maybe about like that and down like that. You know what the name of that book was? What is this from A to Z? The book was yellow, and the trim around the book was green and red, and so were the words. And who was it written by? Alan Watts. So there you go, synchronicity. Lilu Dallas. Um, that's how I got introduced to Alan Watts. Reading that book, What Is This? If I'd have known that I would have been involved in metaphysics, I would have stuck it out with philosophy. I tried to be a double major, an art major and a philosophy major, but I just couldn't handle the philosophy. I didn't get it at the time, but I got it now. I was already experienced psychic and metaphysical things anyway. I just didn't realize that I could have minored in that. But back then, we didn't have enough information like we have now. Well, anyway, so I've told you what is meditation. I've defined it for you. Meditation is an act of finding your center of being. My question is, being what? What is it that you're finding there? And the answer is peace, harmony, happiness. We're going to do a little meditation before I end this today. I also mentioned that when are the best times? Well, you have to explore that for yourself. Some people do meditate before sunrise as the sun is rising. I do that sometimes. I might meditate from 3 a.m. to 5 p.m. and then I go off back to sleep so that energy settles in the body. Sometimes you meditate between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. or before dinner time or before bedtime, at least I would say an hour to 90 minutes before bedtime. Are there any good days of the week? You have to discover that for yourself. That's important. The duration of time, 20 to 30 minutes in the beginning on a regular basis, then increase it to 60 minutes. And the way you can do that is if you start off with 20 minutes on the first for 7 days straight, first week. The next week you add on 5 more minutes to each one of those days. All right, so you went from 20 to 25. The third week you add on 5 more. Now you're at 30 minutes. Now you add on 5 more in that fourth week, and now you'll be at 35, almost graduating yourself to 40 minutes. Keep going in the next couple of weeks after that by 8 weeks of time in meditating successfully every day, not trying to master anything more than just being calm and relaxed. You can get up to 40, 45 minutes to an hour. The thing is, you have to be consistent and you got to do it on a regular basis. Be consistent, do it on a regular basis. That's important when you're doing meditation. Now, there's solo meditation, which is great, but some people can't sustain the solo meditation enough because they can get easily distracted. So I suggest finding a group to meditate with. Now, when you have a group to meditate with, the group is creating an energy because they're meeting at the same day, same time, and meditating for at least up to an hour. Eventually, the same group of people trigger each other. Energy is interlaced, right? Back and forth, triggering each other to stay in the meditation to get stronger. And the cool thing about it, you won't be falling off to sleep. Sometimes that does happen though. Now, if you're meditating, trying to meditate, and you keep falling off to sleep, that means you're tired. Go lay down. Do that till you feel at peace from sleep, and then attempt to do the meditation. But group meditations do help. And if you're someone, lay law, let them in. If you're someone who does channeling, if you channel like ancestors, spirit guides, angelic, ascended masters, things of that nature, otherworldly beings, then meditation helps you reprocess your energy, uh, get you more solid, get you more centered. Because if you're going to channel, you got to be highly centered. Use meditation to connect with your elders, your ancestors, spirit guides, nature. Meditate outside. That's go to a park and see if you can meditate outside. If you want a good challenge for meditation, go to a mall. Malls are active, right? Moms, dads, little ones running through the mall, teenagers, adults. Pick a spot, sit in it, and meditate. Guarantee you, if you do it enough times, or if you're strong, what I mean, you're very centered with yourself, very calm, you're not letting anything around you distract you, you can create a net of energy that surrounds the environment that you are in. And that net will draw in like minded people. Give you an example. One many years ago, I was and while I was still living East Coast in New Jersey, and I had some friends wanted to meet with me. They were coming in from San Jose, California, and one of them was attended a lot of my meditations when I lived east on Long Island, and I met them, and we were sitting in Bryant Park. Yes. Um, and what happened was we were sitting in Bryant Park around 5th and 23rd, I think, or 5th and higher up, maybe around 30 something. Anyway, we were sitting there, lunchtime, a lot of people riding bikes, people walking dogs, people, rocking babies in a carriage, people taking lunch from, like I say, their business locations. And I gave them a guided meditation, these two people. Took them so deep in the guided meditation that I felt something nestled up against me. I looked down. It was a woman's little dog. Now, she couldn't control the dog. The dog loved the energy and came and sat right next to me. I mean, laid out on the ground, sleeping. It happens sometimes. What also was happening, people that was around outside the little part that we were in, I looked around and they were like seated behind me, but not on top of me, giving me a good 10, 15 feet. But I could feel that. That's why I like look, because I could feel people's energy. And then people say, "Oh, sorry, we interrupted your class." I says, "No, well, it was just a special thing for my friends." And someone gave me a donation. That was cool too. But I wasn't looking for that. I was just helping my friends meditate. So meditation is a powerful thing to be able to utilize. Because once you put it into motion, especially for yourself, you can gain better self control. Lila Dallas 37 says, she made a couple of comments. Says, had that with some hissing geese today. Right. Yeah, being around you when you're outside meditating. Ooh, me. All right, I kind of lost some of this, but everybody has put it in the comments in the Instagram. So yeah, you could use it to overcome anger, stress. That's what happened. That's how I actually learned how meditation. I was a sophomore in college and dealing with a guy who was a bully to me because I was a very quiet person, and then I flipped and almost hurt the guy, and a lot of people got me off of the guy, but one of the guys that got me off of the guy was a guy that was into meditation, only because his dad was in the military, who learned how to meditate by being stationed in one of the Asian countries and came back and taught his son. Now, at that time, I was about 19, 20. He had around 19 years of age, and that guy was already in his 30s. I made mention of him in my book, Radiant Heart. I just call him Martin S. or Marty S. because I didn't want to put his full name in. But he helped me overcome anger. And over 6 weeks, about 4 to 5 days a week, sitting in the woods, 6:30 in the morning, learning how to meditate. And it helped out. And he goes away after 6 weeks and told me stick with it, and I did. And what started to happen? I started sharing once I got through the summer, came back in my sophomore year, I was sharing it with my friends who were playing um, basketball for this particular college, soccer for this particular college, because I just wanted other people to experience the bliss that comes from meditation, the blessings that come when you get into meditation. And on my own, I started using guided meditation. I would tell the guys on the basketball team, hey, you guys are 5'6", 5'7", and you playing against most of the guys in intramural who are taller, or guys in the college Mid Hudson League who are a little taller than you. So I would tell them to envision themselves being at the top of the rim over the guys that were 6'2". And they started to use it, and they were jumping higher than the guys at the rim, out jumping them. So then I thought, well, this is good. And later, I coupled it with studying Tai Chi my senior year in college, bringing them together and then getting out of college and working the both of them. Meditation is good. It will alleviate your anxiety, your stress, your fear, your anger. The Some people suffer from low self-esteem and depression. It can move you through it and move you up to a higher plateau with yourself. And one of the best things and one of the last things that meditation is good for, it puts you directly in alignment, a direct connection, so that you can communicate with your higher self. Your higher self is your transcendental self. Your higher self, in essence, is you. When you awaken to the process, through the process that you are your higher self, that's the part that's gaining more what? Wisdom. That's gaining more higher consciousness. That's beginning to understand the intricacies of how things work in nature and around us, to the point that you begin to draw to yourself teachers. This is why I always say, I understand people are creating different business mechanisms around meditation. And they said, oh, why sit for hours on end meditating? Well, here's the deal. If you're not sitting for hours on end, eventually accumulated hours, when something actually happens to you, if you were sitting for just 5, 10 minutes a day meditating and something very serious happens in your area, you're not going to be able to respond in a quiet internal way to what's going on outside of yourself. You may not make the proper decision. You might make the wrong decision. What I mean by that is you might wake up one day, you might wake up one day and miss a signal and then be in the wrong place at the wrong time. So I'm not knocking those that sell those programs. What I'm telling you to do is be willing to sit longer. Once your body is comfortable with sitting quietly with yourself, where you're not paying attention to your worries and anxieties and your thoughts and your angers and so on and so on, get to the point where you step into the zone of silence. What are some of the signs? I've had many students after about 6 months sitting with me out here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, just one day out of the week. 6 months, a guy said he started seeing fireworks with his eyes closed. He started hearing melodical tones. Well, this guy was in the martial arts and weaponry. First time he ever heard musical tones. First time he ever was able to sense the different smells in the room and realized nobody in that room had on cologne nor perfume, yet he smelled something like roses. Got him to change the frequency. He started becoming aligned with his higher self. And sometimes it is important to pay attention. Now, people ask, well, hey, is there any specific direction I need to face? Again, experiment. Some people get a good feeling out of facing east. That represents new start, like sunrise in the east, set in the west. So you're picking up, you get clear mental energy. Some people meditate facing south, generating a lot of energy. Some people face west, cleansing of the emotions, and also sunset. Some people face north to get a strong magnetic flow going, and then they could tune into ancestors and elder vibration. But you have to experiment. Going within yourself is spirit. Above, as above, so below, within. You begin to experience that. Everybody sees and experiences something different from time to time. Yeah, all kind of new information starts coming because you're sitting. The longer you can sit for meditation, what eventually happens, you realize one day, wow, I've been sitting for over an hour, but it felt like 20 minutes. Oh, I thought I was sitting for 20 minutes, and it's actually an hour. I didn't even hear my little buzzer go off. I'm in the zone. I feel higher. I feel so much. Like people ask me sometimes, well, do you take any medicinal stuff? No. When I was in college, I smoked some weed, but this is what I did. I said, well, what's the difference between me smoking weed and me not smoking weed? Well, after I smoke the weed, of course, I get a hangover, just like you drinking alcohol. So I realized when I meditated, after the meditation, within 15 minutes, I had a surge of energy, more alert than was when I went and started to meditate. I felt more comfortable in the areas in which I meditated. That's why it's so important to meditate in the same location. It's okay, but the important thing is when you're working with yourself with meditation, you're building your energy and you can actually break through various programs that have been placed upon you through society. You know, what to be afraid of, what not to be afraid of. Oh, you shouldn't be meditating in the dark. Oh, you should. Some people say, well, don't meditate in eclipse energy. Well, guess what? One day you're going to have to. There are certain fears that go with that. Well, if you meditate during eclipses, then you invite negativity. No, they who are saying that, they invite negativity. You don't invite any. When you were in your mother's womb, you were in the dark. You didn't invite negativity. You were being nourished by your mother. So, all I'm saying is, and I'm not knocking those who teach those things, each person has to find their rhythm. In other words, when you were a child, the child down the street an adult couldn't teach you about walking, but your mom and dad could. Why? Because you trusted them. Just like when you learn to ride a bike, you trust those who were what in your family, those who were closest to you. Then you started to what be motivated and supported and learned how to walk and learn how to eat and learn how to ride a bike and so on and so forth. You have to find it within yourself to remain on a level where it's just you and you. Not you and your ego, but eventually you and what is known as your higher self or your ancestors or ascended master vibrations around you. You have to find what connects with you and what works for you. That's going to be very, very important because if you're not working to get better with yourself, then it becomes more difficult for yourself. So you got to spend the necessary time to be able to go deeper. And that's why I wrote my book back there, Radiant Heart, the 7 amazing pathways to connect, activate, and communicate with your higher self. And I just picked 7 that I know will work. But guess what? You're going to find other levels and other frequencies that are going to help you get there. One of them I use is selenite. To me, selenite is the master gem that you can open up your meridians and your chakras on higher levels and pick up things higher frequencies and stay centered at the same time. You can meditate around water. You can use it like a crystal bowl. You can meditate using a mirror, a black mirror, a silver mirror, a reflective mirror. You can meditate into a porcelain plate if you want. You can meditate through a candle flame if you want. Just use an incense if you want, or nothing at all. Colors, yantric symbols, anything. Anything that triggers you to go deeper, use it. And then eventually, just you striving to connect with that inner you, that soul essence of you known as your higher self. Once you can do that, you'll feel better. So, I want to give you a short meditation before we get off. It could be a short guided meditation or a silent meditation or a little of both. If you have any gemstones around you, utilize them. You might be wearing them. You might have them on as a necklace or a ring or a wrist bracelet or arm bracelet. I have one down in here. One of my students made for my birthday last year. We made it together, and it is on silver. Get it out here. It's moldavite with 3 strips of selenite, and he put a hole in the back of the silver. So when I wear it outside, the sunlight hits it and radiates into my chest. This is moldavite and selenite. And what I found out about moldavite and selenite, if you've never channeled before, wear them two together. You'll be able to channel. You'll be able to get higher frequency. So I want to give you this special guided meditation, and we may let it run loose within yourself. I call it Journey to Grace. It's one of my earlier creative path work meditations. And I want you, if you can, envision just being in a place that gives you ample peace, a lot of peace. Maybe you're in an area where you just can't relax, but you will be able to. Now, if you're riding a motorcycle, riding a bike, and you have to be listening, driving a vehicle, pull over to the side of the road if you can. Go park your vehicle inside of a park, and then cut off the vehicle. I want you just to relax. Now, while you're doing this, while you can hear me, I want you to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth at least 3 to 4 times. So when you're inhaling, when you exhale, you go, make a little loud sound, getting rid of the static energy in the nasal passage, upper part of the throat, back of your throat, upper part of your lungs. Place the tongue to the roof of the mouth between or behind the 2 front teeth, just the edge of the tongue, top part, going toward the tip. Relax. And as you do this, in your case, like Lou Dallas, if you got little animals around, you tune into the rhythm and go above it and see them shaking and nestling and sitting or walking away. Now establish all the breathing through the nose, inhaling and exhaling through your nose, allowing your body to feel expansion, rest, peace, allowing yourself being aligned with all of nature, with the center of Mother Earth and what feels like the center of the heavens to you. Letting your shoulders relax, kind of straighten your spine out just a tad without stress or strain. Let your shoulders fall down and backwards. Go within yourself and be centered in the center of your sternum. Behind there is your heart, but feel like an luminous light is there. A soft green. Could be like an emerald green. Soft. Let the body grow soft. And as you go within yourself, this is a journey to grace. So I want you to envision like you have a woven basket in front of you and a little tool to dig into the earth and a little bucket of water, something that allows you to pour water. Yeah, and I want you to feel like you're sitting outside. If you're already outside, I want you to feel like you're going to become like a beautiful gardener. Keep breathing. In your mind's eye, I want you to encircle the digging of the earth around you in a circle. Let it be clockwise, going around the body. Keep replaying that energy in your mind, going clockwise with a little digging tool around your body, but in the earth. We can feel the presence and smell the presence of fresh soil. And in your woven basket are seeds of grace. For in you grace lives. The principle of grace lives. And as you inhale upon it and release it, the virtue of grace exists as well. For every seed that you plant in this circular row and pushing the seed further, the little thing of water you now sprinkle is your love for the principle of grace. And the more water you sprinkle upon the earth, the more love you are extending into the earth. And as you're inhaling and exhaling, you're feeling the seeds germinate grace. Because grace brings ease. And grace brings a special reward that you're not even looking for, but you can feel the presence of peace, harmony, and happiness. And one of those words will reach out to you. If you feel a tingling on the brow, grace is reaching up on your brow. If you feel a tingling sensation around your jaw and your throat, grace is going to speak through you. If you feel it in the center of your chest, grace is going to embrace you and elevate you. Taking your time, feeling that energy of grace all over your body, flowing down from the top of your head, over your eyes, grace, over your cheeks, around your lips, mouth, grace. Your whole body is taking in the element of grace itself. You feel a sense of inner peace. You feel the essence of pure joy, pure happiness. You just feel this greater sense of oneness, this virtuous feeling that all shall be well, that everything you've ever desired will come to pass. And whatever you desire for yourself, you can see it happening to others. Peace is for you, peace is for them. Joy and happiness for you, joy and happiness for them. Prosperity and abundance in all kind of forms for you and for them, for the highest good of all. Just sit with that energy right now and feel what it means to you. Just relax into it. Feel an inner blessing of grace upon you. And know that all is well for you, with you, in you. And as you move in the greatness of your own being, your own presence, you might even feel a rocking sensation from within. And this is connecting you with Mother Earth. Mother Gaia hears you. Mother Gaia feels you. Mother Gaia knows you. Grandmother trees, grandfather trees around you, and boulders, uniting their energy with yours, encircling a greater light, and you're in the light of grace, which is truly divine. That is today. That is the end of the program. If you'd like to be in touch with me, you can always email me at iam.circleofgrace with the number one at the end at gmail.com if you have any questions. My website is www.circleofgrace1.us, and you just put a single forward slash after the S so it doesn't wander all around. I want to thank all of you for being here with me today. Uh, if I pronounce it again, Lee Lou Dallas 37, Jovita underscore 9. Thank you for being here today. Miss Ms. Sadisha, who I haven't seen in years' time. Thank you for being present. Chef New York K, I think New York Kitchen. Thank you so much. Rose Jefferson made it. Thank you so much. Holly Hemmett was here. Stoke Culture was here. And so many other people. My battery is running low. So I think I got a few more seconds on it. I'm going to hold it. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I'm glad I put this as a simulcast on Instagram. Barbara Ewing made it. Thank you. Who else? It may have been in there. Maybe Julie was there. Golden Timeline. Indigo Moon is somewhere in there. Sometimes she makes it. I want to thank everybody for joining me today. I hope you had a great time learning what meditation can do for you, because meditation is your tool for personal transformation. I'll be back hopefully next Thursday about 1:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. You can always replay if you're on the YouTube. You go to look for Resident Essentials. Many of you may have received the email Resident Essentials, the at symbol Resident Essentials 4314 is the handle on YouTube. And then you go there and you'll see a little blue symbol with my face in it saying Clear Blue Radiance. I have many others that are there too. So that's the Resident Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics. Thank you so much for your time. I look forward to being back next week. And now I'm going to rest my voice. May go out. The weather's nice. It's 89 degrees out here in Albuquerque. There she goes, Indigo Moon. I tell you, she was in there. All right, everybody. Take good care of yourselves. Everybody on Instagram. See you next time. Thank you for joining me. This was, I think, podcast number 2011. No, this was podcast number 211. That's tell you I'm spacing out. Um, what else I need to say? Well, I also belong with the group. He's on here, Stoke Culture. Oh, there, Dr. Lynn Siegel. Thank you, Sister Sekhmet. I'm also channeling with the group on Sunday called High Vibe Channeling, and I'll be on at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 4:30 p.m. for me, Albuquerque uh, Mountain Time. That'll be this Sunday, and I'll try to get you the link for that. Uh, but you basically have to join the group, so I will send you to. Actually, you can also subscribe to their YouTube channel, which is called Way Showers TV. Uh, and I'll put that out there for all of you. I'll be channeling. I do at least once every other month, every third Thursday. So there was something else I wanted to say in regards to that. Yes, I'll be channeling my ancestors, Mother Grace, Grandma Charlotte, but I'm going to be channeling also Akhenaten and Nefertiti. They usually got something nice to say to the audience, something that will teach you. I hear they want to talk about crystals and grids and things of that nature. That'll be this Sunday for High Vibe channeling. So look for, you can go on YouTube, look for High Vibe channeling, but also you can type into the browser on YouTube the at symbol and then type in Way Showers TV 7822. And that will take you to the channel in there. But what happens is they have us doing this through a Zoom channel. So you may not see it live. So you should become a member through Facebook for High Vibe Channeling. And you could tell them you would like to join because you have an interest in the information that comes from various channels. They have people from Canada, from Germany, I understand, I think Spain and Italy, Canada, United States as well. So I can also send you that link. And then what you're going to do is a Zoom link, but I'll send you to the Facebook page and just say you'd like to join them. And then let them know that you know me, you met me. Uh, Best way to get in is, as well, is just say you know me as a teacher of metaphysics and I do channel. So thank you so much for your time. I'm going to shut my voice off. And like I always say, thank you for being here. Until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we are alive and well in the age of remembrance. Look forward to seeing you all again here next Thursday. Hopefully be on at 1 o'clock. Sometimes I had to make it 1:30. Anything happens. But look forward to seeing you real soon. Okay, everybody. Have a great rest of your day, evening, Friday, and weekend. Take care now. Bye. All right.